Many of you would now recognize him and remember him. Sarthak, I appreciate it because obviously it's been a very charged up few days. Who wanted to see what happened on Monday? I'm sure you didn't, I didn't. It seems like today that at least we are talking and action is happening and we are seeming to be heading in the right direction. How are you feeling now that you've seen the developments, the fast track court, a new bill is being cleared by cabinet as we speak? How are you feeling now?
Sir, I'm obviously hopeful of some action being taken on obviously the NEET paper leak and what happened with the CBSE or something. I hope there are discussions in Parliament, and I hope there is some accountability like on that part. I'm hopeful that the fast track courts can solve the uh, you know can judicially solve the issues that the students are facing. And I'm just hopeful of it. I'm just very hopeful. And I would also say that sometimes, if like to continue the hope, we protest because we hope that there is someone at the helm of the government that is listening to us. That is the reason that people protest, and that is the reason that people raise their voices. So they hope that someone at the helm, someone who has the power, someone that can listen to us. So I think like this is a good development. I would say fast track courts and all are a good development. I would just say that, yes.
Okay, Sarthak, I've been a student protester at your age, ironically for a cause of education reform. We were successful. All central universities increased their seats by 50%. All medical colleges, everything went up by 50%. As a young reporter, I've covered the Anna Hazare protests. Ironically, Lokpal was not something we talk about anymore because it effectively does not exist. But the leaders are still well known to us. All of them are well known to us. So what happens is, in this case, after a point, because so much has been done and said and ugly things have happened, right? It becomes a sort of one-upmanship, brinkmanship, ego kind of thing, my way or the highway kind of thing. You and I know the solution isn't in that. We can't fight on the streets forever. So how do we get past, the more immediate frustration and pain of the heat, the water, the tear gas, which is still in our memory?
I would say there has been recorded evidence of disproportionate amount of force used by authorities to sort of suppress the protesters. I would say this is obviously not a good thing. I would say uh, the the people that have been protesting have the fundamental right to protest, and they want to protest because something in the system went wrong. And when you respond to them with tear gassing them or lathi charging them with excessive amount of force, I don't think this is a good idea. So I would say uh, the authorities responsible should proportionately reduce the amount
Yeah,
of force
I
that they
completely
are
agree with you. I mean,
using.
it's ludicrous that, you're expecting young people who are 18, 19, 20 years old to keep calm, to be rational, to not lose their cool, when the trained officers who are trained to keep calm and not lose their cool are slapping a girl on the side of the street. That's not acceptable. That's a total mess. Somebody makes some stupid excuse that my nameplate fell off because it's so hot. I mean, we're all sensible people. None of this makes sense. But my issue is something different. Now that unsavory, unhappy things happen, it becomes less about the OG cause and more about what has happened, and unfortunately about egos, that we have a list of demands and we won't budge from them no matter what you do. And I can tell you unprecedented things. I've never seen a bill drafted in 36 hours ever. And I've been a legislative assistant before I was doing this. I've never seen a fast track court created, not even in the Nirbhaya case within 24 hours, where a judge and a courtroom has been appointed. So, while it's not everything, how do we stay away from the ego battle, that my way or the highway?
I would say we obviously need a pragmatic approach. Students have their demands, like they obviously thought what their demands was beforehand. They have a list of demands that they want the government and the ministries to fulfill. I would say this just needs a lot of dialogue. This just needs a lot of discussion. Unless we discuss this properly, unless we talk about this, unless because we live in a democracy, we do not live in an autocracy. We do not live. We do not. One person does not get to choose what they want to do. So the people together, the people want. If the people want something, there should be dialogue between them. There should be a dialogue in the legislative. There should be a dialogue in the judiciary to sort of achieve what the people want. I would say
Okay,
that.
so at least
Uh,
at this present moment, we seem to be there. At least we are talking. Okay, that's a good thing. We have eventually, Sarthak, we have to solve it together. This is not us versus Pakistan. This is Team India. We have to solve it together. Of course, you need government and the ministers and the bureaucracy and NCRT and the courts and the students and the police, the CBI who have to investigate. Everybody eventually has to work together. Okay. So we have to solve it, and of course you can't solve it on the streets. But let me put it to you from your perspective. Okay, you said, look, I'm a young student. Okay, there's a particular matter relating to the exam that I'm giving, which wasn't the NEET exam; it was a CBSE exam, and there are answer sheets that are being published that are clearly not matching, and it's a mess. And then you have investigated the agency that to whom this was outsourced and found that they were already blacklisted. You were then invited by the authorities to present your findings. What did you find? What did you present to them? And when you met them, were they being dismissive or were they actually listening to you?
What happened in the parliament is confidential. Like what were the discussions inside parliament? I felt hopeful. I did not feel they were dismissing me. I think what my findings and what my presentation was is very widely available. I found out that actually you made a mistake when you were saying that Coimbatore Tech was blacklisted. They were not never blacklisted even after the massive fiasco in Telangana state board examinations. What I found out was that they had a very record. They had a record of massive poor performance, massive fiascos across many boards. There's what Nisar found out was that their software was lacking a lot. It was being hacked. In fact, there are many recent investigations that have been carried out by individual journalists on this sort of matter. What I did was I found out I compared both the RFPs and I compared the language in them and I found out some discrepancies in the newer RFPs compared to the older RFPs. I think me being called to the parliament to discuss and have a dialogue on this is obviously a good approach. Is obviously something that should be appreciated. But again, whenever we are talking about anything in the NEET thing, anything in the CBSE thing, everyone that is protesting, everyone that is raising their voices wants accountability and transparency from the government. And I think the government is responsible in a democracy. The government is responsible to deliver all of these to the people. And I think if the government fails to do it, people protest, and that is their way of dialogue. Coming to the streets, this is their way of dialogue to raise voices and ask questions from the government. So I think it needs a multifaceted approach. We need to employ all the we need to employ all the power. We need to employ all the talents and skills that youth have, and sort of encourage it more. Sort of do it further, and just because
Okay.
it is our country again, and we have a moral responsibility, or we have a responsibility to sort of fix it. So if the people are coming to the streets and the government is there, we need to encourage dialogue.
I totally agree with you, and obviously all of us have to be part of the solution. Okay, and you have to be part of the solution. I have to be part of the solution. The biggest frustration I had when I was your age was that I'm just a student, in college or fresh out of college, who listens to me. Nobody does. We didn't even have social media at that point of time. It was just getting started. Facebook 2007 2000 was just getting started. So nobody listens to you, and then you have no option. I'm hoping that at least an effort is being made. We've had students. This is the third or fourth time you're sitting with us. We've had other of your friends and colleagues in the past few days alone who sat with us. That At least let's listen to perspectives. So I'm going to make a posit, Sarthak, a suggestion which we have been working on. Eventually, the end goal, in my view, has to be that if you want to study a particular subject in this country, might be medicine, might be engineering, not qualify. Qualifying is a separate matter. But if you want to study it, just like going to school, everybody should be able to study what they want to study. So if I want to study medicine, I should at least go to a college that teaches medicine. It is because we don't have enough seats that we have to have these competitive examinations that are so toxic, so stressful, and because they are so toxic, there are people who want to do shortcuts. What is the report? One guy paid some 28 lakh rupees for this paper allegedly, right? Therefore, a mafia exists because they can make money. If the seats were not contested, if they weren't so difficult and so toxic, therefore so valuable, this would not end. Do we need to look at just the number of seats available for specialized courses in this country, period?
I would say a lot of it depends on incentives. A person pays 28 lakhs for the NEET paper, or for leaking the NEET paper, because he feels that this is a better approach than studying for the NEET exam. And I would say, first of all, there is a huge problem with exam validity. Most of them are very standardized. So they most of them lack any. I would not say any logical reasoning, but most of them would lack logical reasonings, and most of them are very standardized to the point that students just wrote and memorized all of that. So I would say we need to assess, and this is what the CBSE, or this is what NCRT and other boards have been doing, CBSE and other boards have been doing for the past few years, that they have been assessing the ability to grasp information in children. So again, this discussion of what the paper should be about, this is best handled by professors, this is best handled by people that understand student psychology, and they understand how students grasp information. But again, I would say this is according to me as a student. That I have felt that the standardized exam like NEET and JEE are very standardized to the point that students that they lack the ability to assess what the student understood.
Is our education system a bit of a mess? Yes. Are we producing every year people who are on paper very qualified but professionally largely unemployable? Yes, I experience that regularly when I take interviews to hire people. Who have studied university, post graduation, but it's difficult for them to tell me what the GDP of India is. Okay, so Sarthak, before I let you go, now you're obviously young, are going to be starting to build your further education and further career, and maybe a few years later you will be an established professional. Would it be prudent to now look at the education from the student's point of view, from the parents' point of view, from the professors? Many of the professors, if you go to IIT, you're a genius, and you're a professor and you get paid peanuts. Okay, if somebody has to be so passionate and not to be tempted to go live in Silicon Valley, who then stays back. Should there be a task force that looks at it? Should we just leave it to the bureaucrats, NCRT, or should we involve students like you? Should we have a conversation before it becomes a problem?
Obviously, sir, I think this is very important, that the students should have a say in the system. The students, even without this is not limited to voting. There needs to be constant dialogue with the students, and in the system needs to constantly interact with the student. And I think using a task force and establishing a task force is a good idea through that.
Okay, Sarthak, your parents must be very proud. Okay, and as the rest of us are, and you're an intelligent young man who's obviously trying to problem solve. It's trust me, it's very easy to complain, even if your complaint is justified. Fixing the problem is where we need help as a country, all of us. And young people getting involved in problem solving is the happiest thing that I can witness. Great speaking to Sarthak. Obviously, we'll keep interacting, and I know you also have further studies and things to do in life. But it'll be good to stay in touch. Please treat this as your platform, something that we can help highlight or bring up. Please do reach out to us, and we'll do whatever we can to do that for you as well. Sarthak, pleasure talking to you once again.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Action Station, of course, is currently in Constitution Club and in